gonna be setting off here in the RCF, traction control all the way off. I can't go full throttle because I would literally end up off of the road because it's cold, it's raining, and yeah. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hart here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Lexus RC F Fuji edition. This is one of 60 in the entire planet. Pretty crazy that I have been able to spend half a week with this car, and I'm going to get it for another half a week. Just crazy experience. But anyways, with all that being said, let's just get straight into the review. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town, and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 472 horsepower and then 395 pound-feet of torque. And also, look at the blue there in the center, and then on the F logo as well, and then all of the carbon fiber all around. Really cool display, but yeah, that's under the hood. Now before I close the hood, I want to mention the whole hood is carbon fiber, so you guys can see here underneath the kind of design that they did. They just did basically a carbon composite, but then on the top, you can see that they actually did a weave on it, so it's really cool to see both of those. But yeah, the whole hood, carbon fiber. Now let's go to the front end of the Fuji edition. So first off, you guys will notice again, carbon fiber hood, and you've got the venting there in the center, looks super aggressive. And then we have these signature lights on the RCF, and yeah, super bright at night, but also they look really cool and aggressive, and they go with the overall design really well. Got Lexus's signature front grille with a logo that doubles as a sensor. And then also we have the carbon fiber ground effects here on the front end. And you can see all the aggressive venting all over. And I mean, from a front end perspective, this has to be one of the best looking cars for sale today. Look at that. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the front, and over in the rear we have 19-inch wheels, but we've got two 75mm tires. But anyways, popping back to the wheel itself, I love the design, how you have the satin finish on the wheel with the ring. Definitely gives you kind of like those race car type vibes. Now this car does come with carbon ceramics, they're Brembo brakes. We'll go over the exact specs when we go over the window stickers so you guys can see all the information. But just know, stopping power in this car is absolutely insane, and I'm pretty sure this is the first RCF that has carbon ceramics. I mean, let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the first one. But again, carbon fiber ground effects there on the side. You got the F logo with the really aggressive venting there on the front end. And then you guys can see we actually have the same mirror on this as what you have on the LC 500. Looks really cool design-wise. And the overall like side on this car just looks crazy, especially now that you can see the wing and everything. Super aggressive. Just absolutely love it. So here's our key fob. Notice we have the leather pouch with the blue accenting that matches everything under the hood, if you guys remember. And then notice we've got the unlock, the lock/remote start. You just have to press a couple times and then hold it down. And then we have the release for the trunk, which just press that. And then it'll basically just pop it, and you have to do the rest of the work yourself. So what we'll do is pop this up right there. And now you guys can see the storage space back here. We've got all the cleaning bags, which, I mean, these would be completely useless right now because it is just raining crazy today. But anyways, we actually have a first aid kit there. Notice it's pretty practical here in the rear. Like, there's actually a decent amount of storage space, and they also gave me a snow brush. That's pretty funny. But anyways, it's got a decent practical trunk area. And I'm actually going to push these back a little bit because I want to see if it's got to fix a flat or, okay, yeah, just fix a flat. So no spare tire or anything like that, which makes sense. That's pretty standard for this segment. But anyways, that's all for the trunk. Now let's finish things here in the rear. Obviously we have the giant carbon fiber spoiler. It does add real downforce. I know some people hate it. I love it. But I mean, worst case scenario, you could just take it off, but I wouldn't, because I mean, look how cool that is, and it's part of this package. Come on. But anyways, we have the RC taillights, which look absolutely fantastic. Notice they mimic the Lexus logo there with the LED. And then we have a carbon fiber diffuser with a titanium exhaust. Now it's not super loud, but the sound quality you do get is very nice. What I'd recommend if you get one of these is maybe look into an aftermarket exhaust or something, or maybe like a muffler delete, because again, the exhaust isn't super loud. It's just, it has really, like, the quality of the sound is really good. We have our RCF badge right there, and you guys will notice there is no way to tell that this is a Fuji edition unless you know. There's no badge on the outside that says Fuji edition. And then here's a quick look at the carbon fiber wing. And also, this is pretty cool. It actually has an F logo here. It's hard to see because of the rain. You can actually see the F logo that they have in the carbon print, which I think is also really cool. But yeah, that's all for the back. Now here's the door panel at the front. Notice that we've got the Alcantara right there with the leather, and then we have the carbon fiber with red that has been kind of laid into the design, which looks really cool. All the window controls, mirror controls, all that fun stuff. Got our Lexus logo. I know you guys are probably crying because I'm getting rain in the car, but don't worry, it's a press car. It's fine. Notice here with the front seats, we've got the bucket seats. Something's funny is you can't go all the way through. There's actually a plastic thing right there. So like obviously the seats are meant to have a racing harness, but you have to like pop out the plastic thing, which is pretty interesting. But these seats are super comfortable. They look fantastic. Not going to pop there into the back. Those seats are pretty much, I mean, you can throw kids back there and you can fit an adult back there, but very uncomfortably. But I mean, most of the time you're probably driving this car with just yourself, maybe a passenger. Power adjustments, and then the pedals look really nice. We have our Lexus RC F floor mat right there. Got that for the hood latch release, the parking sensors, and then aside from that, there's one more look before we pop in. Now here is the steering wheel in the Fuji edition. Notice that you've got perforated leather all around the wheel, so you get a really good grip, and I really like the feel of this steering wheel. And then you have some red accenting here at the bottom with the F logo. This does have adaptive cruise control, which works great. You've got the lane keep assist, and then this is just for the distance function right there. You've got these specific paddles here on the back. You also have a little blue there on the plus end, or sorry, the minus rather than the plus. What am I saying? And then notice we've got our volume and voice command controls on this side, and then you guys can see you've got the turn signal slash light stock and then the windshield wiper stock. And aside from that, that is the steering wheel. Now here's the center gauge cluster. You guys can see that of course I need to fill the sucker up with fuel, but aside from that, you can see there's this menu here on the side. You can scroll through different bits of information here on the car, and then you can go through all the other sides as well. Nothing too crazy, but you know, pretty much what you get in other Lexus models basically. I like how you have the gear position. I think that's pretty interesting how they state that. But aside from that, you do have this part that's customizable. Well, not really customizable, but it changes with the different drive modes. So if I pop it over into the eco mode, notice that it looks like that, which is pretty interesting. And then you have your normal, and then you press it again, and that's custom. Then you have your sport, and then you have your Sport Plus. Now here's what I have to say about the drive modes. Normal mode, great for daily driving. Sport mode is even great for daily driving. Sport Plus is so harsh with the suspension, it is like bone jarring. You're probably only going to use that on the track. So I recommend Sport mode if you want to have a little bit of fun driving, or just normal mode is the route to go. If you want to look at the little twirly thing, then you can do that as well. But yeah, that's the drive mode select, and that's everything that it does there. And guys, don't worry about the tire thing. It does that. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it in reverse, notice we have a backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. Now, aside from that, as for the rest of the infotainment system, it's not a touchscreen. You just control it via a keypad. So if you guys are familiar with Lexus's keypad system, then you know exactly what is happening. But yeah, aside from that, that's the infotainment system. Our Lexus clock down here. We've got dual zone climate controls right here with the radio controls as well. We've got the Mark Levinson sound system, which sounds fantastic. I've been a huge fan listening to that. And then notice we've got the black leather here with the red leather. I like the contrast, and then also pops here into the top. Notice like the rest of the dash is black. Got the shifter for that 8-speed automatic. Notice you've got the red stitching all throughout. The drive mode select, stability control, and then this does have launch control. And again, I'm pretty sure this is the first RC that has launch control, so pretty cool that they have that. And then this is all for the center infotainment system. And then you have the center console, again, Alcantara, and you can see the storage space there. Got a couple cup holders right there in that area. And then we've got the glove box, more of that red carbon fiber. You can see the storage space in there is pretty normal. And then finishing things here at the very top, it's an all black headliner. It's just like softer to the touch, like what you get in other Lexus models. No sunroof or anything because, well, the roof is carbon fiber. And I'll give you guys one more walk around before we take it out and drive it. As you can see, again, all the carbon fiber elements. But yeah, it wouldn't make sense to have a sunroof when you're trying to like lower the center of gravity, but that's the top. Now you guys again can see RC F Fuji edition. Now obviously you guys can read, but I just want to mention some key points here. So again, carbon ceramic brakes, front and rear, 14.9 inches in the front and in the rear. They are 6 piston in the front, 4 piston in the rear. Pretty crazy stuff happening with that. Limited slip differential as well. And so like there's just a lot of stuff going on to make this car drive really, really well. And obviously we'll talk about that once we take it out and drive it in just a moment. But feel free to freeze the frame if you want to read the rest of the stuff here. This comes pretty much fully loaded as is. There's a couple things that you guys can see that are added to this car, but there's a total sticker price, $102,510. So I guess we got to answer the question now, should you buy this or an LC 500? Let's look at the carbon and then we'll take it out and drive it. So again, we've got the carbon fiber on the hood. We have the front splitter, side skirts on the roof as well. And the carbon's kind of hidden on this particular car a little bit. Spoiler and then diffuser, because of the color on it, right? You've got that nice dark metallic gray. So again, it kind of hides the carbon. I've seen other cars that'll be in more of like a bluish gray or other colors that Lexus has, and the carbon fiber definitely pops out a little bit more on those, but I still think this looks fantastic. Anyways, let's take it out and drive it. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the RC F Fuji. So first off, you guys can see we've got visibility of the hood through both of the mirrors, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And I know some people comment on the spoiler there in the back being annoying. It really doesn't get in the way of the visibility all that much. Yeah, it's in the middle of the window, but like it doesn't bother me whatsoever. But anyways, let's set off. So we're gonna be setting off here in the RCF, traction control all the way off. I can't go full throttle because I would literally end up off of the road because it's cold, it's raining, and yeah. So now we're in third gear, so now I can pretty much... That V8 sounds so good. And now that we're at a little bit higher speeds, you guys can hear the tires. Like, I will do that again just for demonstration purposes. And if you're wondering, that beeping is because we were going right up to the red line. And just like the LC 500, you can bounce off of the rev limiter on this. Lexus lets you do that, and it sounds really cool. And I will try to do it in a little bit. It's kind of hard because, again, the rain and everything. But yeah, something I said this earlier in the walk around is, again, sport mode is the mode to be in. The Sport Plus is so rough with the suspension. Like, I'll pop over into the Sport Plus for just a second. It's just like bone-jarringly rough, and you can hear all of the rocks and everything going against the chassis. This thing's so fun. Yeah, it just, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's just constant up and down. So yeah, sport mode is the mode to be in. Otherwise, it is just way too rough from a driving perspective. Okay, now that we are, of course, in Mexico, it sounds so cool, and the downshifts are so violent. And you know what? This is actually gripping pretty well. I can't go full. Like, I was going full throttle there for a second, and it just pushes out of the corners so hard. Yeah, this car's crazy. Again, this is not ideal conditions. I'm sorry. But, I mean, this is just proving how good this car is. The fact that we're on these performance tires, it's like 40 degrees outside, it is cold, and we're still managing to not end up in the side of the road in a ditch with this $100,000 one of 60. And when it steps out, it's very controllable. Even with all the computers turned off, it's just, this car is so well balanced. Oh my goodness, so much fun. So yeah, let's kind of get into summing things up for this review. And I do want to mention, I am going to be posting a longer point of view video on my second channel. I'm going to wait for the rain to clear up here in Utah, and I'm going to go up one of the canyons. Hopefully I can end up doing this. Sorry if it doesn't end up happening. I'm going to do my best, but I want to do like a point of view video, just like the whole video point of view driving, so you guys can just listen to the car, have some fun, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, this Fuji edition, first off, exterior wise, I think this looks better than the LC 500. I love the styling of the RCs, and the RCF is even better, and this Fuji edition is even better. Again, I know some people might not like the wing. I like it. I think it looks so cool. Interior wise, beautiful. Now the LC 500 does have a little bit more nice material use all around, like on the dash and everything compared to this. So I will give the LC 500 a win from an interior perspective, but they're pretty dang close. Now, from a driving perspective, it's interesting. I do prefer the sound of the LC 500. They definitely muffle any of the other F products, I've noticed. The GSF is quiet, the new IS 500, and then the RCF, and then this track, or not track edition, I almost said track edition, it's just like the track edition pretty much. But this Fuji edition, so much quieter compared to the LC 500. So it's kind of interesting, even though this has a titanium exhaust. I don't know why they went for that route, but you know, they decided to go that route. Anyways, aside from the sound, the driving dynamics are so much better. Like, this is just so much tighter. It's still just as comfortable as the LC 500 from a luxury car perspective, but like the handling characteristics are just that much better. Like, it's so controllable, it's so much fun. I definitely prefer the handling to this. So literally, if you just took this car and gave it a ladder exhaust, I would take this over an LC 500 any day of the week. But as it stands stock, that exhaust is hard to say no to. And also, I guess the 10-speed that the LC has is also really cool. And I want to punch it, but I can't. I gotta like ease into it. Do you see that? Just completely slit, like no traction whatsoever. Yeah, that 10-speed's great. I wish the Lexus would throw that 10-speed in this, because this transmission's really responsive when you're on the throttle and when you're at high RPMs. When you're at lower RPMs like this, it's still, that's like, you notice that at higher RPMs, the transmission's just so much more responsive. So at the top end, it's great, but you can see right there, not as good as the 10-speed. So I will dock at that. And then obviously I got to give this a score. So $100,000 performance two-door car. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And the reason I'm going to give it that score is the only thing that I can really fault this car for is just needs to be louder, but that's easy, aftermarket exhaust. And then the transmission's great at the limit, but when you're not driving at the limit, it is a little bit sluggish. But other than that, I mean, naturally aspirated V8, rear wheel drive, the driving dynamics this car has, it's like perfect. And I mean, this is one of 60, so like, you have like bragging rights for having a car that's going to be rarer than your friend's Lamborghini. Just saying, because like, well, unless they have like a Centenario or something like that. But anyways, that is the RC F Fuji. I love this thing, and that's all. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2021 Lexus RC F Fuji edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Lexus for giving me some time with this one of 60 car in the world. Pretty crazy stuff. But anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video.